Okay, so I talked about Steppenwolf and doing a top 10, top 20, and album ranking for the original records. And I find myself going through, cataloging the rest of my collection, and picking a few other things. So, this next video is gonna look at Styx. And I couldn't just keep it at a top 10. It would have been easier, I know. Well, maybe not so easier because let's be honest, Styx, like Steely Dan, is one of those bands that have too many hit songs, too many classics, and too many deep cuts that you keep coming back to. Uh, so, before I get started, a couple of honorable mentions. I've got Do Things My Way, lead of track from Cyclorama. I have three in a row off of the 99 album, Brave New World. So the title track, number one, and Best New Face. Listen, I get it. The production's too slick. Maybe it's too pop. Maybe it gets a little island based. Um, this was 99. I lived in New York as a kid at that point, and even with all the alt metal, the grunge, uh, the typo negative, the European imports like Rammstein coming through, and of course the local bands typo negative, uh, the legends, Blue Oyster Cult, and of course ACDC making another. Oh, and it's 99. So Kiss had the comeback 2 days ago. Was the 30th anniversary of the Tiger Stadium show of the Alive concert series when the reunion happened. So these are all the things people listen to. Add to that, besides the Sepultura and Soulfly, you had Backstreet Boys, you had NSYNC, you had 98 Degrees, all the boy bands. So, Styx was a group that was fractured, yet caught between that mess. And honestly, with dance pulling them more towards Broadway and theatricality, uh, Tommy and JY bringing some of the harder edge and some of the drive, they did a great job on this album. I respect this. Is it perfect? Is it their best? No. But Brave New World deserves a lot more credit than it gets. So it'll pop up a few more times. I'm not going to do a ranking the albums yet until I get more plays with three of the first four albums. You spend a little more time with Equinox and Cornerstone. And frankly, I probably need to listen to Circling from Above a lot more often. But give me a week and a half. Yeah, I'll definitely give you a ranking the albums of Styx in short order. So with that said, I'd also like to add, as honorable mentions, the JY led Heavy Metal Poisoning. When he comes out with the giant stiff suit, the slick back hair. Just eating up the scenery. Over the top charisma. Playing the villain, even though he's. You listen to the album version, you watch the Caught in the Act video version. He ain't in the mood to be there or do this. But he's a professional, so he goes and does it. My last honorable mention, of course, is essentially the title track, Rockin' the Paradise from 1981. That would be. Oof. That would be this album. Yeah, I give you both sides. I'm not gonna pull out and show you the laser etched B side, but yeah, anybody that knows that album. So that said, my number 30, getting to where it matters, comes off the second album, which is en route now for only $11. As the Serpent is Rising, this is the lead off track, Witch Wolf, led by JY. This is raucous, this is heavy. The production ain't the greatest, but Serpent is Rising, at that point in time, in the height of prog, so, you know, yes, King Crimson, Genesis, Gentle Giant, Camel, even Space Rock Hawkwind. There's a lot going on this album. And frankly, I think if you open your eyes, you'd give those, these wooden nickel albums a lot more time and credit than most people would give them. At the end, they deserve so much more love. So I wanted to touch on that one real quick. Coming up next from Cornerstone, an album that arguably I have it out for, along with Equinox, but there's some solid tracks. I'm going to go with Boat on the River, number 29. Going further, that's a classic. It's on Return to Paradise, the Tommy track. Going further, I'm going to go with Love is the Ritual, Leo track from Edge of the Century, 1990. Now, when I was a kid in New York, a lot of radio stations, Q1043, WBAB 102, they would play this track, and I didn't know it was a Styx song. It's led and sung by Glenn Burtnick, and again, you'll hear it in passing even today and go, who is that? This doesn't sound like a Styx song, but it's a Styx song, and it's fantastic. Again, it's not what you expect. It's an underrated album. In the same way that I think Brave New World is underrated and deserves more credit, but Edge of the Century is more focused in that alt rock meets grunge and all the thrash bands turning into progressive and pop music at that point in 1990. It is what it is. But Edge of the Century is a great album. Love is the Ritual, tight track. It could easily fit on an Extreme album. The first 3 Extreme albums, I mean. Just really damn good. My number 27 comes off of this album I got brand new, sealed for $12 instead of $30. It's Crash of the Crown. And I'm going with track 4 of this, Hold Back the Darkness. How old is it? This is 2020. This is 5 years old. Now, Crash of the Crown covers 3 different eras of Styx history. You're going to hear Crystal Ball. You hear little bits of Cornerstone, a little bit of Paradise. It definitely Crystal Ball meets Pieces of 8 and Grand Illusion. This album does all of that. And if you've never heard it, go back and listen, because it's solid. It's 40 minutes. There's not a dull moment on here. So yeah. Okay. Going further. My 26 comes off of, again, I don't own a copy of this yet, but it's Borrowed Time from Cornerstone. Dennis, biting, cynical. JY driving the guitars. Just an awesome track. And again, Cornerstone, it's not my favorite. I'd put it low. No offense to the boys. It's just half that album doesn't do anything for me. So where there's a track that stands out, yeah, okay, I got no problem playing it. And there'll be a little more Cornerstone, a little more Equinox coming forward. But not much. Number 23. It comes off of Brave New World, and it's Dance's last track. This is Goodbye Roseland. This is how you do a power ballad. Emotional. Tugs at your heartstrings. It's a tribute to the past at that point and his father. And if we're honest, I think Dennis knew he was getting fucked over by the guy he hired that JY didn't like and could have been playing, bowling alleys all these years. But he believed in Tommy and gave him a shot. So, it's kind of bittersweet to hear this track. I mean, the last track is the reprise of Brave New World, but to hear this as a final Dennis statement for Styx, he laid it all out there. And it pulls at every fiber of who you are. Just as a person, as someone who's, forget being a parent, but who's done things to better everyone else, who's always been there. And then that just have it end. Goodbye Roseland is just a statement. It's an MO. It's an intent. And Dennis went out firing all cylinders on this album. Say what you will. Okay, my next one comes off of Man of Miracles. Hold on. Let me get the photo right. This is called Lies. Yeah, and there's the cover. Okay, the first 4 albums from Wood and Nickel don't have the best covers. I get that. Heavy, angry, bruising. I'm not going to go into what it's about, but no. This is... Lies is just a smack in the face. And I feel like it's a track that's lost to a lot of generic Styx fans. You need to go back and hear these albums, those Wood and Nickel ones, because even if they're not the best tracks, there's a lot going on between Dennis and JY. And what the hell's his name? He's got a weird name. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Kuralewski. Yeah, there's a lot going on between them that gets lost in time because, well, let's be honest, once Tommy joins the band, the whole thing takes off in the pop world, the commercial world, the rock world. You generally lose track if you don't go back and, take the time. So, Lies, incredible track. Moving forward, 23, again, off Brave New World. I think I have a thing for this album. Everything is cool in the Brave New World. Tommy with JY doing the lead guitar solos that almost melt your face. Again, This is the era, as I said before, of NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees. So, and Santana going a similar commercial vein, doing Smooth with Rob Thomas, and by extension, Matchbox 20. So, everything is cool is another track that just fits in with that era. I get it. It's not Styx classic. It's not usually what I would reach for, but I'm from that era. I appreciate the production and what they were going for, or at least what Tommy and JY were going for. I'm more of a Dennis guy, but I'm okay with a good song, you know? At the end of the day, whether you hate it or whether you like it, you have to respect the artists for at least taking a chance and doing something different for the time. Did they pull it off? Yeah, probably not. But give them credit for doing it, for at least trying. So, again, that's my little diatribe. Moving on. Again, I'm taking too goddamn long. 22. Well, this is off the Grand Illusion. I like a good hard rocking maniacal vocalist and guitar player. So for me, now that I've said this Grand Illusion, you already know we're starting off side 2. You're the apple of the public's eye, Miss America. Oh my god. This song just rips. And when you look into it, JY's late wife, everyone labeled Miss America as a misogynistic song, but if you take into account the beauty pageant, the people behind it, all the backroom, dressing room shit we've heard of since then, Miss America is on point. You know, not everyone's gonna like me saying that, but there's that mixture of vanity and professionalism, yet knowing where it came from. You add in the lack of faith and belief of a woman in this world, this country, the society. Now, Miss America hits on a lot of different levels than you would expect, than just JY being over the top wild man. But again, you know, it is what it is. It's 2026. People are going to judge it differently. Number 21. The song Tommy Shaw brought into his audition. He had it on tape, and he played it live for Dennis. And Dennis said, despite JY's belief, we got to sign this guy. Crystal Ball. What? Do I even have to discuss this? I mean, hold on. I got the album right here. Hold on. I'll do the right thing. Crystal Ball. Yeah, there's that thud. Yeah, this album. This song. This album. My God. You put this on it, whereas Equinox is a step down for me. Crystal Ball, the title track, just on its own. You play this album and it just smacks you on an entirely different plane of existence that Dennis and JY and the Panazzos didn't have before it. So this is one of those tracks that it hits you with, who are you? What do you want to be? What's to come? And I can't think of a better way to summate that other than that way. So we're going to go to my top 20. This comes off of the original press that I'm waiting for. Probably going to surprise a lot of people. My number 20 is, yeah, The Grove of Eglantine from The Serpent is Rising. Weird, wacky, spiritual. Dennis in his early voice and his vocal theatrics. JY punishing you on the guitar underneath. Yeah, this is basically a prog album, and most of the songs are pretty damn short with the Karlewskis, but doing the writing and the rhythm. But it deserves a lot more credit than it gets. So this needs love. It's probably Sermon is Rising is probably my top 5 or top 6 Styx albums. You know, it is what it is. I'll own it. Everyone's gonna look at me crazy. Woo! Whatever. Fuck you. It's my own damn channel. My number 19, another JY track. This is off Cyclorama. These Are the Times. Epic. Emotional. Wonderful dual guitar solos. They're going on the keys and synths. Could have come off of Pieces of 8. Or, you know, Equinox. Or, we'll stretch it, you know. We'll say Grand Illusion. Classic track. And I know people hate the album. For those of you who don't know this by title, I don't have a copy yet. I'm going to put it in a Discogs order and get it. This is the album with the giant floating carrot. So, give that a chance, because just like with Brave New World, you may not always agree with the production, but there's some amazing songs on this. Which brings me to another Brave New World track with Jay Way on lead vocals. Well, shared with Tommy. What Have They Done to You? Groovy, pop forward, a little R&B. Again, it is what it is. It's all those meet boy bands, but it's 1999. That was pop. They did what they had to do. So, if you've not heard Brave New World, you need to go back, and especially if you're like me in your mid 30s or your early 40s. Now, this was the time period. Maybe you didn't like it then, but with the understanding and appreciation, maybe a little respect, you'll see just how underrated this album really is. And you'll own that, yeah, the whole band was fractured and divided at this point. You know, Chuck Panazzo doing his thing on drums. John was dead, but they made it work for this, even if they had to use the first version era of Pro Tools and call each other up on the phone and record each other over the phone to get it done. Brave New World's such a fantastic album. Okay. Moving on. Coming from yet another underrated album. This is a Dennis led track. It's called Not Dead Yet. I'm Not Dead Yet. And it hits like half grunge. He meets AOR, meets REM, you know, FM staples. Not Dead Yet. It's got a little bit of blues, a little bit of country, and a whole lot of rock underneath it. Well, that's my number 17. Number 16, I don't own a copy of this, but there was no way I'm doing a Styx countdown and not including this, even if it's not, even if I would put the album itself, Equinox, near the bottom. You can't get away from Sweet Madam Blue. You just can't. I don't even have to discuss it. Just saying it, you know what it is. So, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but Sweet Madam Blue is my 16. My number 15, the title track, Crash of the Crown. JY narration, storyteller, to lead it off. And it's the only track he appears on this album, which is a travesty, but again, is what it is. You can't change things. I like when he's a maniac, but even him as a storyteller on like Snowblind and other tracks like that, he stands out. He gives you that little X factor. And Crush the Crown, like Hold Back the Darkness, Lost at Sea, Sound the Alarm. These are classic Styx, even if they cover 4 different eras of the band. It's just damn good. But Crush the Crown, the title track, hits so much harder from a societal, cultural, and human perspective. And when I reach for an album now, I often go for Crash as one of my go-tos, and I replay that title track all the time. Okay, so moving on. Number 14. Again, Edge of the Century. One of the most underrated Styx albums, if not the most. Show Me the Way, the ballad. And this was played in tribute during the Return to Paradise 96-97 tour. Man, Dennis giving you the Torch ballad. The way forward in life. Both as a human, existentially, possibly just your soul. This hits on another level. And as a tribute, forget about it, it's a tearjerker. It is what it is. I think Edge of the Century deserves, much like Brave New World, a lot more credit for the good songs. Even if Glenn Burtnick sings 3 of them. Jay only sings Homewrecker. Of course, he nails it. It sounds like a JY song, and he nails it. But Edge of the Century and Brave New World, these deserve a lot more spins than they get. And maybe it's because people don't believe they're Styx albums. I don't know. But the songs are incredible from start to finish. You just gotta take the time and put it on the background if you're not sure. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that one. My number 13. I like how I use Copilot and it's telling me this is Crash the Crown, but I'm not fucking stupid. I know Ballerina is the last track on Crystal Ball with Claire de Lune opening it up. Dennis and Tommy going back and forth. It's just, this is breathtaking. And again, for an album that's a reintroduction and a statement of intent of how things are going to be, they came out swinging right from the start. Ballerina is one of the most effective. It starts off slow to mid-tempo, and then it picks up the pace. Ballerina is just an incredible track. And if you've never heard Crystal Ball, you fucked up. There's no, forget the service. You fucked up. Go try this. Next one comes off of number 12, Paradise Theater. This is, like anything else, You want it to be this way. You hope for it your whole life. But it's the best of times. Dennis just crushing it. The whole band on fire. Yeah, they dropped the ball with Cornerstone. But on Paradise and Paradise Theater, they came out swinging from the start. Number 11. Okay. How long have I been at? 30 minutes. Jesus fucking Christ. Number 11. Okay. This is from 77. It's Tom Allen lead vocals. You know, you thought this was going to go shorter. Well, guess what? You're an angry young man, and you're just fooling yourself like I am. And I'm in my mid 30s. I'm always fooling myself. Yeah. Do I have to talk about this much longer? You know this track. And I'm going to go right to my number 10 because it's off this same album. Dennis on lead vocals to start it off. When your life isn't sure, remember, everything you see, everything you do, all the people around you, it's a grand illusion. It's bullshit. Inside, we're all the same. Just keep that in mind. Number 9 comes off of, as I knock over this glass, comes off again, Crystal Ball. This is Put Me On. Oh my God. This is, like I said, this album is a statement of intent or, reinvention. We start off with the new trifecta harmony choruses between Dennis, Tommy, and JY. Tommy gets the first lead vocal in his debut. It's just 3 words, and he's in his higher register. And then the whole thing just crashes in with Put Me On. And here comes JY in top wild man maniacal form, giving you 2 stanzas. Why you need to play this record right now. What it's going to do to you. And then for the reprise, Dennis comes in with Tommy on backing vocals. This Put Me On is just a kick-ass track. There's no way around it. I hadn't heard this album in 8 years before a day or 2 ago. And I was going through doing my Discogs cataloging and collection note for the family. And I just put it on, and god damn, did this punch me in the face right off the bat, just to say, we're born again, and deal with it. We're here to stay. This is, if there was not there is not a better statement of intent that I can think of off the top of my bat than Put Me On from Crystal Ball. Moving on again. So, we're up to number 8. This one hits different, especially when you're sitting on your goofy ass filling out job applications and somehow finding the time to catalog your whole record collection, taking your sweet, time. And it makes you sit there and go, well, I don't deserve this, this period. I'm trying too hard. And my apologies to Brian, my buddy. But you know what? After 6 months, I have to say, sitting here, working out when I want to, doing these job apps, taking care of people one way or another, I really do have too much time on my hands. Paradise Theater 81, oh my god. If I were to do a top 10 ranking, Paradise is going to be 3 or 4. It's one of those just inescapable albums. And Tom, I don't have a cold brew by me. Had I done this an hour ago, I would have had a hot brew by me, and it's 90 degrees, and I'm already sweating my ass off. But whatever, I would just have that coffee and do what I got to do. But you sit there and go, "What am I doing?" and "Where's my life going?" And yeah, too much time on my hands just pops up. Number 7. This is coming off again, The Grand Illusion. This is not quite the penultimate track because there's an outro called The Grand Finale, but it leads into one of my top 5 favorites. Every now and then, not only do I have too much time on my hands, but I feel like a man in the wilderness. Trying to figure out his life, where things are going, what's his role with people, who we are, what am I in this existence? And, more often than not, I wind up as a loner. A singletary footnote in daily existence for people. So, like I said, man in the wilderness. Good, bad. It has its positives, it has its negatives. Might as well own it, for better or worse. And we go back to Paradise Theater. I'm not gonna pull it out again. I should, but I'll just say my number 6. You know what? I will pull it out. Fuck it. Yeah. Whatever. I should take the record out and show off the etched B side. But it is what it is, But my number 6 is it's on the B side to start it off, or side 2. I'll just say that it's mirror, mirror on the wall, image show me, scares me so, 'cause I'm snowblind. Yeah, snowblind. That track between the Grimm brothers, JY's cold-hearted, emotionless delivery, Tommy kicking in at the time he had a heroin addiction. He had a coke addiction, not a heroin addiction. He had a coke addiction, and it's definitely shots fired at him as he sings the high lead vocals. And at the time he was thinking, well, at least I'm not on heroin. I'm better than that. Having worked with SUD and mental health kids the last 6.5 years, that's just another sign of how fucked up drugs make you. But snowblind, between the fairy tale delivery, the balladry, the tight harmonic vocals, what was going on with the band, Snowblind's incredible. My number 5 comes off of The Grand Illusion. Again, you're probably you might as well settle in, because I think the next 2 albums are gonna be on display here. It is what it is. My number 5 is Come Sail Away. Come sail away with me. Come on. Yeah. Uplifting, reaching for your greater self, and not forgetting the child within. To go back to Candlemass a little later on from 1988, with Ancient Dreams, you don't forget that stuff. So, Come Sail Away is just a track I reach to for when I need to press beyond where things are at and how I'm feeling, the people surrounding me, the clients, ex-clients. But it's just something that speaks to all of us. And credit to Dennis, JY, and Tommy for putting that one together. My number 4 comes off Pieces of 8. I'm a renegade. I had it made, and they finally found me. Enough said. Enough said. I'm not the biggest Tommy guy. I prefer, I prefer JY's maniacal delivery and swampy blues heavy dirge playing on guitar, but Renegade is undeniable. And thank you, Dennis, for telling Tommy, no, you're not going to do this as an acoustic Western country ballad track. Fuck you. Because that would have ruined the whole damn song. But they got rid of Dennis in the end because he was too theatrical and Broadway focused. Whatever. You know, it is what it is. My number 3 is a Dennis track, also off of Pieces of 8. Beware the Queen of Spades. Oh, man. Dennis is just so biting. He's heavy. He cuts all his inflections. It's all to the quick. He doesn't cut corners. He's not being nice. And the rest of the band shows up. It's melodrama, but it's just Queen of Spades is just vicious as a track, as a warning to you going forward. So it's something that, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Pieces of 8 as an album, because let's be fair, side 1 is kind of weak. Side 2 is, with apologies to Crash of the Crown, the entire 4 tracks on side 2 are just a monster for Pieces of 8. Side 1, I like Grey White Hope. I like Lords of the Ring. The other 2 tracks, who gives a fuck? They're pretty skippable. You play them once. You don't lift the arm up and then drop the needle again on them like you do the other 2 tracks on side 1. But side 2, those 4 first piece of it, oh no, they're on a whole nother plane. Had that album been an EP like the Halloween EP or the mini LP, due to its 5-track 27-minute length, had Styx done out Pieces of 8 with just the B side of this album, absolute masterpiece. And Dennis never sounded angrier than he does on Queen of Spades. He tries, but Boy, did I even mention Mr. Roboto, or did this damn thing mess my up? You know what? Honorable mention. Mr. Roboto deserves on this list as well. I love that song. It is what it is. Yeah, it's hammy. It's over the top, but no, you gotta have Mr. Roboto on this list. And it was on my list originally, but I've been using Copilot to cheat and keep track, and it dropped, and I'm reading it now, and I'm going, you fucked up. So my original number 10 was Mr. Roboto, but okay. My number 2 is technically the penultimate track from Grand Illusion, following up Man in the Wilderness and Tommy's incredible delivery. And it's Dennis, and he's talking existentialism and philosophy and theology too as well. And it's far beyond these castle walls, where I heard Tiresias say that all things will happen and where man must meet his destiny. Castle Walls is breathtaking, incredibly short, and Dennis on the organ and the keys kicks in a way that reminds you of Renegade, the backside of Come Sail Away, Fooling Yourself, The Angry Young Man. I just. Castle Walls is one of those tracks. Try as I might, even if I don't listen to it as often as much of what else is on my list, when I put that on, I'm connected to it. It's a higher way of thinking. It's it speaks to the soul for who you are and what you want to be. Even with all the darkness, you go beyond whatever the walls and bridges you've built. You know, you have a life, you have a fate, an existence, a destiny, and you're gonna live it at some point. So that's my number two. My number one, especially because I can actually have a high register singing voice, it comes off Pieces of Eight. It's Tommy. And I gotta tell you, once I get this, whatever job I get, I'm gonna take those long nights, those impossible odds. Gonna be a blue collar man. I am. I am a blue collar man, even if I was destined for white collar work and white collar crimes. Oops. You know, no, I was raised as the son of a blue collar worker. Again, even though I had the brain of a white collar person. You you put in those extra times, you do those doubles, you do those triples. You want that chance to survive. And I swear, I'm already 6 months out, almost 7 months out. This is my last fucking time in the unemployment line, and I'm not a charity case. So I'll take those long nights, impossible odds, keeping my eyes to the keyhole. If it takes all night to become what I am, well, I'm gonna be a blue collar man. Yeah, whatever. That's my number one. Again, I'm not a Tommy guy, but Blue Collar Man speaks on, and Castle Walls number two, speak on so many levels above and beyond what I normally go for. But, you know, that tied with bad relationships and using women, beware the Queen of Spades. Uh, being the outsider, the man in the wilderness. On and off struggling with sobriety. You could stretch that to being snowblind if you want. You know, it's trying to rectify what we as a society tell people to do and believe in, and then there's that shadow 1% controlling everything you do, and technology making it all just a grand illusion that you have to laugh because we're all the same. That's our existence. That's my existence. Styx is one of those bands, for better or worse, I turn to. This wasn't the cleanest video. It dragged the fuck on. And I'm gonna see how I do the ranking of the Styx albums, especially with a couple of them coming in. But we'll get there real soon. So that's everything. Again, my top 10: Blue Collar Man, Castle Walls, Beware the Queen of Spades, Renegade, They Finally Found Me, Come Sail Away with Me, I'm snowblind. Sometimes I feel like a man in the wilderness. I got too much time on my hands. Don't forget to put me on. I'm your new record. And just remember that it's a grand illusion. That's my top 10. See you guys next time. Real soon, trust me. Even if I gotta wear this damn cut off, cut up Grateful Dead tie-dye shirt. Whatever. But till then, see you in hell, my friends.